So starting first off, guys, obviously you guys are looking to take the mortgage pre-licensing course. This is through Got Licensed Learning. It's an NMLS approved school with the Department of Banking and Insurance. These are some of the different recommendations that I usually do give our students as you're gearing up to the exam, of some of the questions that you should be really taking your time on answering, and so on and so forth. Okay. I wouldn't get too wrapped up in the percentage of people who pass and people who fail, like I had just mentioned to one of your peers. But one thing I definitely do advise is that you do your best to truly read the question. Again, the pass ratios as of 2019, it might be different, higher or lower now, but it's about a 59% pass ratio. So it is a little bit of a difficult exam. I think one of the main things that I usually do tell people is, again, I'm going to repeat it, take your time, read the question. If you don't know the answer to the question, do not leave it blank. You are allowed to flag it and revert back to it. Okay. The questions, again, is about 125 multiple choice questions. They have made some certain adjustments recently to the exam, where the questions are a little bit higher or lower off the top of my head, but there will generally be about a small portion of a certain number of questions that are not scored. Those are just questions that they're now looking to introduce newly into the exam and kind of see the number of people who get it right and get it wrong. Specific percentage of the exam, again, if I'm not mistaken, they did make some recent changes to these too, but this is generally the proportion of what it is. About 23% is federal mortgage related laws. 23% is roughly the general mortgage knowledge, such as what is an FHA loan, what is a conventional loan, USDA, VA, what do you need to know in reference to mortgage insurance? What do you need to know in reference to when mortgage insurance can be removed by request, when mortgage insurance can be removed automatically, and so on and so forth. Mortgage loan origination activities, about 25% of the exam. Obviously, you guys are taking an exam to be mortgage loan originators, so a good portion of the exam will be a part of that. So mortgage loan origination activities, main things you want to remember is, what does it take to be a mortgage loan officer, right? So what are some of the recommendations as to what you should be doing, such as taking the exam, passing the exam, taking this course itself, being able to register, fingerprints, so on and so forth. Those are a lot of the things that you want to make sure you have in place. And then in reference to ethics, so you want to make sure, and when it comes to ethics, believe it or not, it's almost like you would think it's common sense, right? Well, if it sort of sounds a little bit fishy, right? Then, or if it sounds a little bit like it's in a gray area, likely it probably is unethical, right? So when we talk about RESPA, the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, and we went through the course, and one of the things was in regards to kickbacks, right? You guys all remember that? Kickbacks, whether it's anything of value. So it doesn't necessarily have to be financial money. It can literally be something as simple as going out to an extravagant restaurant, going on vacation. Actually, even this is one that's mind-blowing, is giving some type of promotional things to the agents. Something as small as like a mug, pens, notepads, that's okay. For the purposes of the exam, you want to make sure anything of value. So for example, if you are and one of the examples that they do use generally is, if you are a mortgage loan officer or a realtor and you're looking to work out of an attorney's office or a realtor's office and so on and so forth, and you don't necessarily pay rent for having an office in that building, but part of your agreement is that if you do work within that office, majority of your book of business goes to that agent or attorney. Does that sound like it's ethical, or does it kind of sound like there's a little bit of a gray area? What do you guys think? And you guys can unmute, just kind of give what are your thoughts with that specific scenario?
It sounds unethical.
Unethical, right? Where, you know what, you're not giving him financial gain, where you're not giving that cliche money under the table, $500, $1,000 for giving them the deal. Now you're receiving some type of anything of value gain, whether it's through compensation or gain, for being able to take advantage of that office space. Make sense? Uniform state content, that's just general knowledge within the specific state, such as the Department of Commissioner. What are the differences between mortgage loan originator, mortgage banker, and correspondent lender, which we will go over extensively tomorrow as we cover the New Jersey portion as well. One part, again, don't get too wrapped up in the specific number I tell our students, but the passing ratio for the exam is 75%. Okay, so 75% is to pass. Okay, you have a long time to take the exam. So take your time, do not rush. Now, if you unfortunately do not pass the first time, you're not able to take it the next day or a week from now. So it's a little bit different than real estate. Real estate, and I don't know if it's changed recently, but from what I know is real estate that if you take it the first time and you do not pass, you're actually eligible to take it immediately the next day if you're able to find space. Mortgages is a little bit different. Mortgages under the NMLS with the Department of Banking is you must wait 30 days before you can retake it. So let's say, God forbid, you take the exam on the 18th, you do not pass it, you are eligible to take the exam immediately. I want to say the 18th would be the 30th day or the 19th. Okay. You shouldn't have restrictions to register past the 18th or 19th, but you're not able to take it before that. Now, they do give you up to 3 times to take the exam. If you don't pass the first time, 30 days, don't pass the second time, 30 days. If you don't pass the third time, then you must wait 6 months before retaking the exam. So again, a little bit different than real estate, where real estate allows you the opportunity to take it, again, to the best of my knowledge, without any restrictions. Mortgages, there is that 30-day, then 6-month time frame. Okay, we're good. Thumbs up. Awesome. So now moving down, one of the things that, again, and I'll go through these fairly quickly. Stop me if I'm going too fast. But step one, what I want you guys to remember is understanding what is going to be on the exam. So we just kind of went over what are the different outlines and breakdowns of it. Make sure you guys understand some recent changes, such as TRID, qualified mortgages. What's the difference with RESPA? What's the timeline in reference to the 373 rule? If you guys remember, if you went over that with Julian, right? 3 days is for the LE to go out. 7 days is the earliest you can close. 3 days for the CD to go out to be eligible to close, right? There's going to be a lot of different exams. You want to get a clear understanding of what is going to be on the exam. And there's no, I call to my loan officers, there's no John Madden playbook to the exam. Every exam is different, to the best of my knowledge, at least. So there's a lot of different exams where you may have a lot of math questions. You may have a lot of law questions. You may have one exam that may have a little bit of both. Don't get wrapped up into, well, I should focus on one thing and not focus on another. You should have a clear understanding of a good majority of the material. And then you yourself can identify through different practice exams as to what are the things that you necessarily may need a little bit more attention to. Okay. The next thing is obviously take the right type of pre-licensing course for your learning style, which you guys already did. There are some courses out there that are a little bit more affordable than ours. Be the first one to tell you, but every course is different for people, right? And there are some courses that are a little bit more expensive, right? Before I used to do these extensively online, I used to do them in person in my office in Woodbridge. I still do have occasionally classes in Woodbridge, but obviously COVID threw a curveball at a lot of that different things. But being able to have a live instructor to teach you things, in my personal opinion, is the best way to do it, because you kind of get the best of both. You get the benefit of being at home and simultaneously the benefit of having a live instructor teach. Again, there's a lot of different online material out there that you're able to, like I say, teach yourself and put yourselves in the best necessary steps to be able to pass. A major one that I do recommend is once you finish. So I always tell people this course is kind of like whoever went to college, right? Or like high school. The purposes of the professor or the teacher is just to introduce you to the material, right? And then you kind of had to self-pace yourself outside of the class to truly understand the material. I highly recommend the same thing, right? So when you guys are done with this class, again, it's at your leisure. You're able to take it Saturday if you wanted to, as early, or you're able to take it, if I'm not mistaken, up to a year for the exam. I do recommend that you do try to take a bunch of different prep courses. Time yourself truly, just so you guys get an understanding of what it takes to be on the clock, answer specific questions, and simultaneously really have that whole industry model wrapped up together.
How much is
Okay.
the time limit?
The time limit, I believe, is just over 3.5 hours, if I'm not mistaken. 3 hours or 3.5 hours. So you have more than enough time. Like I say, I would highly recommend you take your time as you answer every single question. Really try to figure out what are some of the questions in there. Just the English language itself, right? Like one word can change the entire question, right? Where all of the following is correct, and this is, you guys will see a lot, except, right? Or which of the following is not, right? So you want to really be careful to look at those specific type of words and truly understand those verbiages, because you have more than enough time. But again, by my opinion, maybe some people think they should get more time, but I think it's enough time. So you want to put yourself in that position to truly understand, and do always process of elimination, right? 4 questions, so you're going to have a 25% chance of, each question has 4 choices generally, so you're going to have a 25% chance of getting the right answer. If there's one that's completely out, now you're down to 50%, right? Working your way backwards that way for every single question, in my opinion, will definitely put you in a better position to simultaneously pass. Don't rely on practice exams. So don't just do practice exams. Review your notes. The exam, I say, it's tough. I'm not going to sit there and tell you guys this is the easiest thing you'll pass in 2 seconds. I hope everybody here passes. We do have a very high passing ratio within our course instruction, which allows us the opportunity to be successful. But there's over, like you see here, almost 4,000 different possible questions that you can get. So when you keep practicing and practicing, you'll notice you're not going to get the same question, which is why it's important to understand the material. A quick little recommendation. I know some of us, I usually recommend my students, you can join an NMLS study group. They're free nowadays. Facebook or all these different groups that just kind of give little recommendations and tips for you to pass. This one, again, these are my recommendations. So you don't have to do them, but I do recommend that you do take the exam at your earliest convenience when you feel like you're ready. Sometimes, a lot of material has been thrown at you guys within the last 3-4 days, right? And I do this purposely. There are some instructions with some course providers that they do them 6 to 10, right? 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. because generally the average person works 9 to 5. I've tried that over the years. It's in my opinion, it's very difficult to get the material in your head within such a short time frame, and then spreading it out to like 2-3 weeks, right? It's a little tough. But I do recommend that you do take the exam when you think you're ready as soon as possible, because as quick as this material was introduced to you guys is as quick as the material will get out of your head, right? You're like, come in here, come out the other. I do recommend that you do put yourself in a position to pass. Again, taking the exam too, like I had mentioned to you earlier, if I am not mistaken, they're still allowing online course instruction. Taha, when you took your exam, did you do it online or did you do it in person?
No, I actually did it in person every single time.
Did it in person. Did they give you, and I'm actually curious, through PSI, did they give you options to do it online too or no?
Yeah, they give an option. I don't want to do it online. I'd rather do it
Cool.
in person. Honestly.
So again, no wrong way to do it, but that's something new that they were doing now, where you can actually take the course instruction online, and they have all different security protocols and stuff to scan the room and scan your phone, your computer and stuff. Only answer what's being asked. This is a big one, along with reading the question carefully. So don't automatically assume, they're asking me about the HPA, Homeowners Protection Act. That means they have to be asking me about mortgage insurance, right? Because I remember my instructor saying, HPA, Homeowners Protection Act, what is it protecting? Well, it's not protecting the homeowner, believe it or not. It's actually protecting the bank. So protection on the bank is through what? Mortgage insurance. And when I'm thinking about mortgage insurance, at what percentage can I have mortgage insurance removed for an FHA loan if I put 3.5% down? What's the percentage, guys?
$20.
Okay. Anybody else?
You mean for you to call and remove? If
Mhm.
you
For an FHA loan?
Yeah, to refinance it if it has PMI.
Yep. At what specific percentage of equity or loan to value do I need to have?
I believe 78%.
So I'm going to repeat the question again. If I have an FHA loan and I put 3.5% down, what were some of the, I should say, cons to getting an FHA loan? Mortgage insurance is what? Mortgage insurance is forever. Remember that. Conventional loan, you're allowed to eliminate your mortgage insurance by calling, you're right, Steve, or refinancing at 80% of equity, or it automatically removes at 78% of equity. But what was that one key word in there that I threw in? An FHA loan. FHA loan, mortgage insurance, if you're putting less than 10% down, can never be removed. Conventional loan can be removed at the 80, 78 of what you guys remember. Okay, so it's those little things that you want to make sure you have a fair understanding. So I have a conventional loan, I have an FHA loan. People generally get an FHA loan for low down payment requirements, credit score, so on and so forth. But so that's the pros. Now, one of the cons is mortgage insurance is forever if I put less than 10% down, which means that I can't remove it. Conventional, you have to have a better credit score, a little bit of a higher down payment if you can't qualify for a home ready, or have to put 5% down instead of 3.5%. But mortgage insurance with a conventional loan can be removed at 80% or automatically at 78%. FHA, it cannot. Okay, so again, a lot of information being thrown at you guys, but make sure you read the question carefully and get that understanding. So you're put in a position to, right when you see that FHA and they say mortgage insurance, oh, they're trying to get me. I'm trying to get tricked, or they're just trying to make sure I understand the material. Okay. So again, recommendations: studying in 10 hours at least a day, reading the question twice, like I had just said. When you read the question the first time, I would recommend that you do write notes. So you're like, all right, mortgage insurance, FHA, percentage of equity. So I'm like, mortgage insurance, okay. FHA, whether if they're asking me about mortgage insurance through an FHA loan, it can never be removed. So the answer, let's say they have it, is none of the above, right? And it'll be removed. Answering every question, like I had mentioned to you guys, do not leave a question blank because it'll automatically be marked wrong.
Wi-Fi call will be charged.
You are able to simultaneously have the question marked on the side wherever they do it. Usually it's the corner right or the corner left, and you say mark for review, and then you can come back to it. Okay. And then the last thing is, and I usually tell people, don't cram in the night before when you're taking the exam. Take your time, truly, by that point, and I hate to say it, you either know the material or you don't. Take your time the night before, have a good rest. Hopefully you'll be able to pass at the 75%, and then you'll be good to go. Okay. You guys have any questions on that? We're good? Awesome. So I'm going to